Today we catch up with Johnny Crawford, who spent 5 seasons as Chuck Connor's son in The Rifleman.
The golden boy and the fan favorite, Johnny Crawford, an amazing lad who swept the hearts of all his fans in all the scenes that he popped in. But was his life as lovely as depicted by his character in the films? Today we will tell you some of the deepest secrets of Johnny, even the ones that took him to his grave. Anyone who had seen the television back in the 60s or 80s remembers Johnny as a very popular American actor, singer, and a musician. He was sometimes the Mark McCain in the television series called The Rifleman, and sometimes he was one of the original Mouseketeers in the original Mickey Mouse Club. He was a natural fit for the character, and sometimes he acted so good that people forgot who Johnny and Mark were. These aren't just some empty claims, because what we are telling you is backed by the Emmy nomination he received back when he was just 13 years old. The kid had a knack for popularity and some pretty good managers, because they didn't let fame be confined to The Rifleman. They made him do other showbiz as well. He was a star in his music career because whatever he released instantly vanished from the market because of how great the sales were. He was such a great actor, but little did you know that sometimes he wasn't even paid for his acting. He always liked to give people surprises, but the surprise he gave to his fans in 2021 broke their hearts. So all these questions arise, with the biggest one being why someone of his caliber had to die with so many regrets. Well, to know the answer to that, you will have to stick around till the end. Crawford was born on March 26, 1946, in Los Angeles to Betty and Robert Lawrence Crawford Sr. His maternal grandparents were Belgian, and his maternal grandfather was the popular violinist Alfred Eugene Mirren. He grew up in a loving environment with 3 siblings, Corey, Dan, Robert, and Nance. You must have realized by now that he was someone who came from a very defined line of family, so his great destiny was handed to him on a silver platter. It wasn't like he didn't have any talent of his own. No, he was so talented that in 1959, Johnny and his older brother Robert became the co-stars of the series called Laramie, and their father, Robert Sr., were all nominated for Emmy Awards. The brothers were nominated for their acting, and their father was nominated for film editing. He already had a great portfolio, so he kicked it up when he became 9 years old. With the pressure and guidance of his parents, he decided to audition for a role as a Mouseketeer on the Mickey Mouse Club. The producers looked at him at one glance and decided that there could be no one better suited for the role than this young boy because of how well he suited it. Johnny didn't hesitate to accept the role and began working with ABC to film the show. Here comes the big surprise. Did you guys know that ABC never paid anything to Johnny? Well, to be exact, Johnny and his parents told his agent that payment wasn't necessary because it was something like a sentiment to ABC, since they had no intention of paying him. Most people would think that this was such an evil thing to do to a child, but it wasn't the case for a family like them. Money doesn't matter to them since they are getting something way more valuable than money by making their son perform in that role. What they were getting instead was fame, enough fame to launch their son to the highest peaks of Hollywood, ones that they had not seen themselves. This little shenanigan of theirs paid off 100, no, 1,000,000 times over when he started getting more and bigger gigs. He started as one of the 24 original Mouseketeers on Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club in 1955, where he appeared in many segments of the Red Team. His brother Bobby also became a TV star by appearing on the show. At the end of the first season, he pulled out of the career because he had got what he needed from them. He ditched ABC and quickly became a part of his first film called The Sons of Katie Elder. He starred alongside John Wayne. Don't worry, is Wayne not related to Batman? Or did he? Anyway, by appearing in this film, he got the second component of a successful entertainer, which was confidence. He became part of many other major projects like The Little Boy Lost. This was Crawford's first important break as an actor because this was a Lux Video Theater production that was released on March 15, 1956. He also appeared in the popular Western series The Lone Ranger in 1956, in one of the few color episodes of that series. He began freelancing for 2.5 years, during which he got experience of almost 60 television credits, including roles in 3 episodes of NBC's The Loretta Young Show and an appearance as Manuel in I Am an American, an episode of the crime drama The Sheriff of Cochise. He even starred in the 1958 season 1 finale of The Restless Gun, and then he accumulated more fame as he starred as Bobby Adams in the 1958 drama Courage of Black Beauty. The boy was on a roll as he was somehow connected to every big movie or series of that era. He appeared as Tommy Peel in the 1958 episode The Dealer in Tales of Wells Fargo. What do you think happens when a young talent gets exposed to all that limelight and fame? They get corrupted. Fame is like a poison to the young mind, but was it the same for young Johnny? Let's find out. Johnny Crawford's big break came when he was cast in the show The Rifleman, and this time he was done being the junior side character. This time he performed as Mark McCain, the young son of war veteran Lucas McCain. We will just remind you once again that the iconic war veteran is none other than the living legend Chuck Connors. It's a very special role because Chuck was one of the first actors to play a single father role on live television. This was a world-famous show that ran from 1958 to 1963, and needless to say, the show was a major hit. The people of that time were not familiar with this kind of bond, so something like the sweet and sour father-son relationship and the life lessons it taught viewers was a new big thing in television. Johnny appeared in a total of 168 episodes, and thanks to these appearances, the Rifleman acted like a rifle that shot him toward the peak of fame and Hollywood. Many people thought that it was Chuck Connors who gave Johnny his spotlight and made him popular, but wait till a little later because we will tell you how Johnny saved Connors' career and let him be the iconic Rifleman for so long. After that, he got more famous thanks to The Big Valley, which ran from 1965 to 1969. This time Johnny starred alongside Barbara Stanwyck, who was the big widow of a 19th-century rancher in this American Western series. Johnny also killed his other roles in The Count of Monte Cristo and Cavalcade of America films. Now it was the time of his career when people used Johnny in their projects because they knew that he was the Golden Sparrow and anything he was a part of was going to be successful. Using this as bait, he started doing cameos on Rawhide and Hawaii Five-0. He made many guest appearances on The Mike Douglas Show and The Tonight Show, which starred Johnny Carson. Johnny was now a symbol of fame and a household star where kids wanted to be him and live his life of luxuries. Things get interesting here because now is when Johnny will save Connors. It all started when Levy Gardner Lean Productions, who were the original producers of The Rifleman, got the rights from MPI in late 2013, which started the release of all 168 episodes in sequential order for the first time. The show got very popular in its early seasons, but then it ended because our beloved Lucas McCain began dating Miss Millie in the third season. The love affair did not sit well with all fans, which led to McCain's relationship with Millie ending in season 4. But things got tough for Connors because they were not paying him enough and he wanted to quit. He was almost replaced by James Whitmore or John Anderson, but the producers, recognizing Connors as the ideal fit for Lucas McCain, eventually increased their offer after they saw his strong on-screen chemistry and respectful interactions with young Johnny Crawford. Connors accepted the revised offer and continued to work as the Rifleman. This made him the popular star that we know today, and if it wasn't for Johnny, he would have been forgotten by the world. Crawford shared a close working relationship with Connors, but their relationship off-screen was, oh boy, you might want to sit down for this one. Crawford had no respect for Connors as a person. He thought of him as a bother and a bad influence. He went as far as describing Connors as a practical joker. He had such a great run in his acting career, so great that the world can't forget him for centuries to come. But wouldn't it be the biggest punishment to Johnny if he forgot all that glory, all that fame? What do we mean by that? You will soon find out. Many people think that Johnny's decision to suddenly pick up music was weird or uncalled for, but that's because they don't know him or his background at all. Johnny came from a famous family of music, as we have told you before. His mother played the piano, and his maternal grandfather, Alfred Eugene Mirren, was a violinist in Germany and Belgium before migrating to the United States in 1914. Alfred was a loving husband who taught his wife Frances to play the violin, which started her career as a violin teacher. Alfred was one of the first violinists for many big orchestras like the New York Philharmonic. His daughter had the same musical talent as him, and she picked up piano on Granddaddy. Bobby Crawford was another big shark of the musical world as he joined hands with Irving Berlin and co-founded the Crawford Music Corporation. He produced amazing Broadway plays and musicals and sold his music catalog to Warner Brothers in 1929. And once he did, in 1941 he had left all the musical riches to his family, to Johnny. Once Johnny got free from the army, he got interested in the music of Bobby when he was stationed in Queens, New York during his service. Johnny had become friends with director Charles L. Turner. This encounter tweaked his musical interest of the 1930s musicals. Johnny picked up his guitar and played it so hard that he felt connected with the spirit of his granddaddy, and people started drawing comparisons of him to Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. By the time of the early 1960s, he had achieved it, he had all the practice and skills he needed, and now it was time to take things a step further when he decided to pursue this passion professionally and recorded his first song, Daydreams, in 1961. His fame as the son of the Rifleman helped him gain fans instantly, and he signed with Delphi Records. Thanks to their help, many of his songs made it to the Billboard Top 100 charts. Johnny released 3 albums throughout his music career and had 8 Billboard Top 100 hits. He didn't forget to follow in his granddaddy's footsteps, so Johnny formed the Johnny Crawford Dance Orchestra, which specialized in big band jazz and swing music. The man was full of surprises because he was already so successful in music and films, but he still had another thing up his sleeve. Johnny Crawford had a diehard passion for rodeo. He was an active member of both the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association and the American Junior Rodeo Association. His rodeo skills, which were thankfully trained because of years of practice as the Rifleman, were almost flawless. His steer wrestling, calf roping, bronc riding, and bull riding were the things he took pride in. He also practiced trick roping so that he could master the art like none other. It was like Johnny had sworn to give his fans as many surprises as possible because he shocked everyone with his patriotism when no one was expecting it. Johnny joined the U.S. Army because he thought that his country was calling for him and it was his time to help it. He served in the Vietnam War from December 1965 to December 1967. Johnny left his successful career and all of his passions behind for the sake of his country. He used to say, "I don't feel like I'm giving up anything. I owe it to my country." His military service began with basic training at Fort Bliss, Texas, and it led to the Army Pictorial Center in New York, where he contributed to the production of training films. Johnny used to make jokes by comparing military haircuts to historical scalping in his letters home. Back at the Army Pictorial Center, he loved creating training films so that he could prepare soldiers for combat while also improving his career practice. He was honorably discharged in December of 1967 after becoming a fully fledged sergeant. Johnny came back from the military as a stronger man who focused on his career as well as his family. Once he thought that he was established enough, he reached out to his high school sweetheart, Charlotte Samko, in 1990, and after 5 whole years of dating, they thought it was time they tied the knot. Johnny was one of the luckiest men in Hollywood who never had to divorce or break up any of his romantic relationships, and their marriage was as strong as a bull. Johnny never had any children of his own, but it didn't stop him from being a father. He lovingly raised 2 stepdaughters, Brenda and Jamie, and lived happily ever after with them. Johnny loved to have collaborations with his family, and there were many events when he and his brother Bobby starred together in the Mickey Mouse Club and later formed a musical duo called the Crawford Brothers. Once he was out of the Army, he took some time off acting, but Johnny returned to the profession he loved with amazing roles in films like The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw in 1991, and he even reunited with Chuck Connors in one of the projects. His acting career was very successful until he retired in 1999. He just had a cute return in 2019 for William S. Hart's silent film called The Marshal. The question remains, why was his end so sad, and what surprise did he give to his fans in 2021? Well, imagine you live a life so perfect, so full of glory, you never make any mistakes that the other young celebrities make and have everything that an average superstar wants all life when you are just in your 20s. But all of these things are what you attain in your youth, and remember, once you get old, it seems insignificant. But it was a luxury that Johnny never had. Johnny got diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and he couldn't remember all that fame. He was surrounded by the people who loved him, but he never recognized them on his deathbed. Do you know how lonely and scary that kind of end feels? It was a big punishment that Lady Luck gave him. A GoFundMe campaign was launched to assist with his medical expenses, and his net worth at that time was around $500,000, but most of it was consumed by medical costs. Then the surprising hero shocked the fans once again when people got to know the news that our beloved Johnny Crawford had passed away on April 29, 2021. He didn't die because of Alzheimer's, but instead he died from COVID-19. Rest in peace, Johnny Crawford. You will always be remembered as a shining star in the minds of the whole world. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, The Celebrity X Files, for more documentaries like this. Thank you for watching.